no. Okay. Oh no, Genos! Ah, he bit the bullet for me. I was gonna, like, dive through that too, but... yeah, he's just dead. Feels sad, man. Alright. Come here, Ying. There's a triple. Quad. Give me a penta. Give me a penta. There's a penta. We're gonna get a Damba hexa-kill? We are! We're gonna get a Damba hexa-kill. What in tarnation? Hey, what's going on, guys? This is AndrewChicken, and welcome back to another video. There are several different healers in Paladins that have different niches to fill. Io is great for single-target healing, Corvus is great for pocketing flanks, Grok is actually a damage champion, and Damba? Well, Damba is fantastic for just about anything. He's got good area healing, a fantastic single-target healing, and a potent damage build that's capable of dominating an enemy team. That's why in today's video, I'll be going over my tips, tricks, and loadouts to help you improve at Damba, one of the best supports in Paladins. Just like with the rest of my guides, I'll be starting out with an overview of his base kit and some general tips, before moving into his loadouts, items, and more advanced tips to master this fantastic support. If you want to see my other champion guides, I'll leave a link to the playlist in the cards and the description in case you're interested. But without further ado, let's get straight into the video. Alright, let's get started with an overview of Damba's base kit. Damba is a skillful healer who doesn't have the same auto-aim capabilities that other healers like Ceres or Furia have, so having good aim is crucial to playing this champion effectively. However, if you have good aim, this is by far one of the best healers in the game. Damba's primary fire is his Spitting Cobra, which fires a glob of venom from his cobra just over every half a second. This venom does 400 damage, meaning Damba deals about 727 damage per second. However, you have to keep in mind that his venom is a projectile with a steep arc, so it's really hard to hit his projectiles reliably at longer distances. However, it has no damage falloff, so if you do hit it at long range, you'll be doing some substantial amounts of damage. While Damba's weapon is unique, since it fires out a secondary projectile when he's 90% finished reloading. Once he's done reloading, he literally throws his snake at the enemy, which deals 200 damage and also stuns the affected target. What's nice about his snake toss is that Deft Hands will throw out his snake sooner, and with Deft Hands 3, you can shoot and then immediately reload for some nice burst damage and a quick stun on an enemy. This makes Damba one of the only champions in the game where it's not just okay to buy Deft Hands, but it's actually encouraged. If you're playing Healer Damba and you've already got a substantial amount of Chronos, Deft Hands can be a fantastic secondary purchase. Damba's Snake Toss is augmented by the talent Wekono's Wrath, which causes the Snake Toss to deal 700 damage, and also travel faster, making it easier to hit. This is a potent damage talent once you buy Deft Hands 3, and we'll talk more about his damage playstyle once we get into his loadouts. Damba's main healing ability is his Mending Spirits, which will heal a teammate for 340 health per second for 4 seconds. This is a hit scan healing ability with no auto-aim, making it slightly less reliable than other healers like Genos because there is definitely room for you to miss your shot. However, if your aim is good, this isn't that much of an issue. This ability also has a 3-second cooldown, which means you'll be using this fairly often. You can also stack it on a teammate for a short time, since the ability lasts for 4 seconds but has a 3-second cooldown. This makes Damba distinct from another champion in the support class who doesn't have this feature, despite the fact that he could use it much more effectively than Damba can. But that's beside the point. Mending Spirits is augmented by the talent Spirits Chosen, which gives the ability a burst heal of 250 once you initially cast it, basically turning the ability into a shorter, more bursty version of Genos' Astral Mark. Damba's healing is further amplified by his next ability, Gourd. His Gourd heals all teammates who stand inside of it for 325 healing per second, and it also damages enemies for 225 damage per second. You can stack the healing from his Gourd and his Mending Spirits on the same target for some absolutely ludicrous healing output. Or, you can spread out the two abilities, and heal multiple people on your team at the same time. Damba's Gourd is augmented by the talent Ripened Gourd, which doubles the healing output of your Gourd at the cost of it no longer doing damage. This can be an effective way to heal multiple tanks, but it's not as good as Spirits Chosen for healing nimble flanks or damage champions, and it's generally just not as versatile as his other healing talent. Damba's movement ability is his Slither, which is a quick dash forward that renders him completely untargetable for the duration of the ability. This ability doesn't have vertical mobility, but it's pretty good for a short horizontal burst forward, and is great for letting Damba survive huge bursts of damage such as a Terminus ult. It also cleanses status effects like Cauterize or damage over time abilities such as Sky's Poison Bolts, which makes this ability a simple yet useful tool for Damba to have. Lastly, Damba's ultimate is his Dread Serpent, which fires a projectile that travels until it hits terrain, or until Damba casts the ability a second time to explode at midair. When it explodes, it summons a massive snake for about 4.5 seconds, which fears away all enemies within a 40 unit radius for 2 seconds. When an enemy is feared, they're forced to run away from the Dread Serpent, and can't shoot or otherwise control their character. This ult is fantastic for causing disruption in a massive fight, preventing a flanker from killing you, or saving a teammate who's in danger. While it doesn't do any damage, its useful crowd control can give your team an opening to strike and take out some of the enemies. You can also follow up this ultimate with a stun on an enemy who is feared to further prevent them from doing anything, which can be really helpful. The one weakness of this ultimate is that it gets countered by resilience and other forms of mitigating crowd control, such as Inara's talent Mother's Grace. But in most circumstances, this is a fantastic and powerful ultimate. Just remember to reactivate the ability when it's close to the enemies, so that it doesn't just fly off into the distance and fear the grass on the other side of the map. Alright, now let's get into Damba's different loadouts and playstyles. The most common healing playstyle for Damba is to use Spirits Chosen and spread out your healing to whoever needs it the most. There are a lot of different ways you can build a Spirits Chosen loadout, but they all usually revolve around Eerie Presence at their core. Eerie Presence reduces the cooldown of Mending Spirits if you miss your shot, which helps to mitigate the unreliability that his healing can sometimes have compared to other healers that have auto-aim abilities. The way I like to build my Spirits Chosen loadouts is to use Eerie Presence at level 4, many Gourds at level 4 or 5 so I can spam out my Gourds all over the place, and then some card that will modify my playstyle and help me with whatever situation I need that loadout to fit. For example, if I'm on a team where my teammates will benefit heavily from increased movement speed, such as with Tyra and Inara, I'll use Swift Spirits in my build to give them that extra movement speed for the duration of Mending Spirits. However, if I anticipate that I'll be getting shot at a bunch, I have a different loadout with Possession in it instead, for a bunch of damage reduction as long as I'm actively healing someone with Mending Spirits. I also have a Chase build that uses Snake Pit 5, which lets me chase my teammates and get heals to them as quickly as possible. This build is great for running away from enemies too, and is fantastic on long maps where your team may be a bit spread out. Also, it's a bit of a guilty pleasure of mine to be selfish and use this build instead of the other healing builds, just because I love moving quickly. But anyways, once you've got your core loadout forged from Eerie Presence, many Gourds, and a third modifier card, the rest of your cards are just fillers that can be tailored to your personal taste. Some of my favorite filler cards to have are Incorporeal for extra health, Sustenance for extra healing if I'm low, and Feed the Spirits to further spam out my abilities if I'm getting a bunch of eliminations. All three of these builds are generally good, solid builds for healing. However, if you have exceptional aim, then you may want to consider swapping out Eerie Presence for a different card, perhaps going for damage reduction and movement speed, for example. You can totally do that if you want, but just keep in mind that if you miss, you'll have to wait the full 3 seconds to have another chance at healing your teammates. Even the best do miss occasionally, so I still generally encourage using Eerie Presence, even if your aim is good. For the average player especially, this card is, in my opinion, absolutely mandatory. Next, let's talk about his other healing playstyle, Ripened Gourd. This talent doubles the healing output of your Gourd, which makes it ideal for healing multiple big tanks, but not so ideal for healing a team of flanks or mobile damage champions. There are 2 different ways you can go about building a Ripened Gourd loadout. The first way is to make it an absolute healing powerhouse by using the card Venomous Gourd alongside many Gourds and Eerie Presence. Venomous Gourd grants everyone standing inside the Gourd 40% lifesteal, which can really help heal players with high DPS who are actually hitting their shots. For example, if Rom stands in the Gourd, he'll be getting 650 healing per second from the Gourd alone. However, if he's shooting at another tank, he'll get a further 320 healing per second from the lifesteal your Gourd is giving him. If you stack this with a single application of Mending Spirits, then Rom will be getting about 1300 healing per second from your Gourd and Mending Spirits combination. Of course, other people standing in the Gourd will also receive this lifesteal on top of the Gourd's base healing, which makes this talent and card combination a true healing powerhouse if you anticipate that your team will be grouped up. However, if you want to be able to spam your Gourds instead of just having one powerhouse Gourd, then you can go for this alternate build that uses Feed the Spirits at level 5. This card lets you get a ton of cooldown reduction on your abilities as long as you're helping the team get kills. You earn assists by healing any teammates who score a kill, shooting an enemy who eventually dies, or killing an enemy yourself. As long as you and your team are actively getting kills, you'll be able to have some ridiculous uptime on your Gourds. However, they won't be as powerful as the Mega Lifesteal Gourd. Now of course, this Gourd talent can be amazing when your team is grouped up. However, this isn't usually the case. In a lot of matches, your team will be somewhat spread out, and you won't be able to heal multiple people with one Gourd. This is why Spirits Chosen is usually the better talent, since it lets you heal a spread out team more effectively. But when you've got something like Yagharoth and Rom on the same team, Ripened Gourd can be a fantastic choice to use nonetheless. Now, let's talk about some tips you can use to improve your healer Damba gameplay. Generally speaking, it's advised with just about any healer to stick near some sort of cover, peeking out from behind walls to heal your teammates. In Damba's case, you want to find a good location where you can easily get line of sight with your teammates to heal them with mending spirits, and also throw gourds to your tanks. Usually, it's best to throw gourds at your tanks or snipers, since both tanks and snipers usually stick to one area for an extended period of time, either on the point or at an effective vantage point over the objective. Sometimes, you may need to throw a gourd to another damage champion or flank who's behind cover, but most of the time, tanks on the objective are the priority for your gourd. Flanks and damage champions usually don't like sitting in one space, which can make the gourd an ineffective way to heal them. You'll know what I'm talking about if you've ever tried to heal a Mave or Eevee player as Damba. Also, you shouldn't be afraid to use a selfish gourd from time to time to keep yourself alive. Like I said in my Grok guide, an alive healer who used the totem on themselves to keep themselves alive is more valuable to the team than a dead healer who tried too hard to heal their teammates and didn't keep themselves alive. Instead, you want to use your mending spirits to heal your mobile, flank, and damage champions, since mending spirits doesn't require them to sit in one place to be healed. With spirits chosen, you'll be able to keep your squishy champions topped off with just 1 or 2 mending spirits most of the time, which is pretty nice. Alternatively, if your tank or someone else is taking huge amounts of damage, stack the gourd and your mending spirits on them to give them absolutely insane amounts of healing. Also, when using your gourd, you have to consider how your gourd might bounce when throwing it at a surface. On most flat surfaces or ramps, it'll just explode right where you throw it. But sometimes, stairs and other weird indentations or bumps on the floor can make your gourd bounce in unexpected areas. Try and aim your gourd so that it will hit a flat area where it will easily explode, because bouncing gourds can sometimes lead to the teammate you were trying to heal dying or having to move to a weird location in order to get healed, which is not ideal. Next, let's talk about Slither. This is a fantastic tool which you can use to run away from a flank or dodge a big burst of damage. With Slither, it's important to be familiar with the timings on other champions' abilities. For example, if you're under fire from a Kinessa and need to get away, you want to activate your Slither right before she shoots, which is made easier when you're familiar with her fire rate. Another way to use Slither is to dodge Bomb King's ultimate. Bomb King players generally try and detonate their ultimate when they're close to whoever they want to blow up. So, as Damba, if you time your Slither right when Bomb King is rolling close to you can avoid getting stunned and inevitably killed, and make the Bomb King player feel really silly. You can also use Slither if you need to quickly get closer to a teammate that you need to heal, but you have to be careful not to slither into a situation that will get you killed with no escape. Most of the time, Slither is best used to dodge damage or escape from a sticky situation, and you rarely want to use it to engage. Now, Damba's ultimate is fantastic to use for a variety of purposes. You can use it on the objective to crowd control nearby enemies and give your team an opportunity to attack. You can use it to defend yourself from a flanker who's trying to kill you, and if you're quick enough, you can even use his ultimate to save another one of your teammates. It all depends on the situation you're in. However, if you're playing healer Damba, you usually want to use your ultimate when your teammates are alive so that they can help you kill the enemies. If you use your ultimate on a group of enemies and your team is backing you up, it can be a great way to turn the tide of battle in your favor. If most of your team is dead, it's usually a good idea to hold off on ulting. Also, don't forget that you can detonate your ultimate mid-air by recasting the ability. I've seen far too many Damba players waste their ultimate by accidentally throwing their ultimate past the enemies and fearing some random grass because they don't realize that they can blow it up mid-air. As far as items are concerned with healer Damba, you usually want to go for Chronos first, just like any other healer. After that, however, Deft Hands can be a fantastic choice. Deft Hands will let you get some quick stuns on anyone who tries to attack you, which can help you survive being flanked and maybe even kill the person who is coming after you. If you combine your DPS with a Gourd on the stunned target, you can pretty easily kill just about any squishy champion. If you're going to buy Deft Hands on anybody, Damba is by far the best choice for this reason. Other helpful items on Damba can be Nimble, to help you run away or chase your teammates, and some form of damage reduction or resilience depending on who you're fighting. Alright, let's move on to his damage build. Damage Damba is one of the best damage builds in the support class, since he has rapid fire stuns and fantastic burst. Now, with a damage loadout, you don't really care about healing your teammates, so you don't need to worry about a lot of the fundamental cards from his other builds. Instead, you can focus on buffing yourself up to be as strong of a damage champion as possible. This build revolves around Snake Pit to move around the map as fast as possible and juke people in duels, with Feed the Spirits at level 5 so you can use your Gourds and Slither as much as possible. You guys know how I love these types of cooldown reduction cards if you've seen my Buck or Eevee guides, and so I'm absolutely going to recommend it with this damage build too. This can really help you wipe an enemy team, and is great fun to use. The last important card in this build is Sustenance, which gives you a bunch of extra healing when you're at low HP. Since you're almost always using Selfish Gourds with Damage Damba, this card will help keep you from dying if you're fighting someone and you get low. The rest of the cards, as usual, are just fillers, and you can swap them out depending on what you like to use. As far as damage Damba's playstyle is concerned, you need to be maxing out Deft Hands as quickly as possible. Until you get Deft Hands 3, you are not going to be very effective as a DPS, so it is crucial that you rush this item. Once you get Deft Hands 3, other items like Cauterize and Nimble are really helpful. Stacking Nimble with Snake Pit can get you moving incredibly fast, and so I highly recommend getting Nimble at some point alongside your Deft Hands. Now, before you get Deft Hands 3, you should be playing a bit passively, helping to keep your team alive and occasionally engaging with an enemy to try and kill them. If you attack someone before getting Deft Hands 3, you should try and stun them, then throw your Gourd on them and just shoot them down with your primary fire. It's not effective to spam reloads for damage until you get Deft Hands 3, so once that first stun is hit, you should just keep on shooting them until they're dead. Once you get Deft Hands 3, however, then you can just keep on spamming those reloads to do massive amounts of burst damage. Ideally, you want to engage with an enemy at close range without having max ammo so that you can instantly get a stun off. Then you can reload to stun them, and once the reload is complete, immediately shoot and then press reload again. Rinse and repeat until the enemy is dead, which shouldn't take long, especially if you're using your Gourd to supplement your damage. In most cases, you want both you and your enemy to be standing in your Gourd, so you get healed while you're fighting them, and they take additional damage. If you're having a tough time killing an enemy, don't be afraid to solo ult them. If you solo ult someone, then continuously shoot and stun them, they're almost guaranteed to die, so this can be a useful tactic if you need to take out a scary target. Other than that, there's not much to playing damage Damba. Just practice hitting his projectiles, since they can be a bit tricky to use at longer ranges, and spam out reloads once you get Deft Hands 3 to become a bursty, stunning machine. Then, chase down the enemies with your Snake Pit plus Nimble combination, and destroy the enemy team. But anyways, that's going to be the end of the video. Did this Damba guide help you get better at this fantastic support? If it did, make sure to drop a like on this video and subscribe for more content like this from me in the future. Also, make sure to check out the Discord server linked in the description to become a part of our active community of over 1,000 members. I also stream regularly on Twitch, so make sure to follow me there as well. Lastly, I want to give a huge shout out to the members of the channel for helping to support my content. If you want to support the channel and gain access to some fun emojis to use on comments and an exclusive role in the Discord server, then just click the join button right next to the subscribe button. It's cheap and it helps out a lot. Anyways, I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.